But let's move on, Rob, to Jesse Lingard, because I think, in the summer, we did a preseason show as well, and we said, we'd get rid of Jesse probably if some money can come in. Jesse wanted to stay as well. Obviously, United were possibly looking to ship him out. There was talks about him going to West Ham. But Jesse Lingard has come in, and he's been fantastic, Rob, if I'm honest. He's probably pushed himself further forward and further ahead the pecking order than Donny van der Beek, which is something, obviously, which some fans are quite surprised about, myself included. But 2 goals now in 2 Premier League games. Has Ole got a little bit of a game changer on the bench? I know it's very early days, but you're looking at that bench. Compared to last season, we had Sancho sitting on the bench, we had Lingard, we had Van der Beek, I believe Martial was there as well. There's real quality on that bench. He could be key, couldn't he, in coming in? If Jesse chips in with 7 to 10 goals this season, Man United are that much closer, aren't they, to winning the title?
Definitely. I think it was you, Haider, that said you wanted to sell him, not me. So just let's put that out there first.
Listen, you would have been happy if Jesse had gone. You wouldn't have minded.
No, I wouldn't have been happy. I wouldn't have minded, though. You're right. I wouldn't have minded, but I wouldn't have been happy. Why? Because Jesse Lingard's an England international, and that's what he is. So, I think, again, in these scenarios, it was quite smart to bring him on when Ole did. I wouldn't have started him. There was a lot of talk before the game where United fans were saying that they're going to definitely start Jesse because he knows West Ham. I looked at it the other way. I thought you don't start him because West Ham know him. They know what he does, so they could have defended against it. But it's much better, obviously, later in the game when you're trying to win it or trying to obviously get points out of it. We can bring on someone that can impact. So, yes, Jesse Lingard, for me, as an impact substitution, is perfect. He's great at what he does. He can do that, give you 15, 20-minute spells, especially when you're trying to do more in the final third. What I don't like for Jesse Lingard is when, like, say, in the European game that we saw the other day, where he's brought on, he's kind of given defensive duties to do, he's kind of being a more kind of traditional number 8 midfielder. He's not a number 8, never has, never was, never will be. So let's not do that. You mentioned Donny van der Beek there. I think, again, this is kind of a stylistic thing where you can see why Ole goes to Lingard in these moments and not Donny. Why? Because you're trying to move the ball. Your legs, but you're trying to move the ball quicker. You're trying to get impact on the edge of the box. And you think about Jesse Lingard's goal. Jesse Lingard gets the ball on that left-hand side. It comes to him there. And he takes one touch to get it out of his feet, but it's a bad touch. He takes it and he drags it a little bit too narrow. And then the second touch, rather than just putting his foot through it, which is what a lot of people would do, is that he drags it into the area that he wants to. So he creates the shape. And then you see, obviously, that sells the West Ham defence because they know what he's going to do, but they can't do anything about it because he's done the right thing. He's opened the space up. And then it's just about accuracy. So in that moment, do I want Donny van der Beek wrapping his foot around the ball and putting it in the top corner? Or do I want Jesse Lingard? Every day of the week, I want Jesse. I want Jesse doing it because that's what he does well. He does it really well. He's confident in those moments. And he knows that football pitch. He's been at West Ham. He wasn't there to kind of hurt West Ham, but of course you want to prove yourself always, don't you, when you get those minutes? So I think for Ole, Jesse will be an important part this season. Does Jesse Lingard push for a starting place now? Well, maybe, but we've just done a segment obviously on Jadon Sancho and Greenwood, and that's really who Jesse is competing with. You could also say that Jesse's competing with Bruno, but I think with Bruno's style and function, Jesse can't do what Bruno does. So we know Bruno's not perfect. And I think today there were things, again, that Bruno didn't do very well. Overall, you want your connection, your top end of your pitch to be Bruno and Ronaldo. So I think for Jesse, he's just going to have to keep doing what he's doing, coming on with cameos and scoring goals. If that happens, Haider, there is a chance that takes United up another level. Like, I talk about this all the time about bench strength and depth and things like this. It's not always just about numbers and people. It's about what that one person can do for you in that moment. So on the opposite scale, when Matic came on with 3 minutes to go, I was a bit like, because you're going to lose all your mobility, you're going to lose other parts of your game.
Robert, it's a good,
but he gets the assist. Pass. He comes in, he comes on and he gets the assist because he plays a straight ball into feet. So Ole gets that one. So I'm nervous as a football fan because of what I'm thinking, or as a football journalist. But Ole's got the keys to the car. That's what it's about. It's his decision. So he made that with 3 minutes to go. That ball goes into Jesse. He might have said that as well. That might have been instruction. When you get the ball, look for the channel, get the ball into Jesse and let Ronaldo be the decoy. So that's how that goal worked. So I think it's really, really good. That's promising for me. So even all the things that we're talking about where stuff hasn't worked, there are definite positives.
Yeah, and Rob, also, you've got to give Ollie some credit as well for the substitutions today. We were disappointed what we saw against Young Boys. We were questioning why you're bringing on. Obviously, we had a player sent off of Wan-Bissaka. Why are you bringing on defensive players? Obviously, we didn't do a masterclass after that. Myself and you have had a conversation about that. But today, I think he got it spot on. I think Jesse Lingard was the right option to come on. I was thinking, sort of Van der Beek, and there are questions here. Gerard sort of saying, when will Donny get a chance? Fred will play most weeks. It seems like Ollie likes Matic. What I do want to say, though, is I think as of right now, and this is a positive for Bruno. You mentioned Bruno as well. Obviously, Bruno is the starter, but now Ollie can turn around and say, I've got Jesse on the bench. I can maybe bring Bruno off 10, 15 minutes before. I can rest him a little bit. I can give him some rest, unlike I did last season where he was overplayed. And then when you're looking at Van der Beek as well, where is he going to fit in? I think he's going to play deeper in the pivot. That's just where I think he is. Last season, we said he couldn't do that. I think this season, though, that's probably where he'll get most of his minutes. And looking at Jesse as well, though, Rob, he's obviously a local lad, and we talk about this, and it doesn't mean that if you're a local lad you get Manchester United more. We've had people like Evra and non-English or Mancunians who have been some of our greatest players who just get the club. I think Bruno's another one, and we have so many in our history in our past. But I think one thing about Jesse, though, is he did want to stay. He does love the club. He is a local lad. He did want to stay and fight for his place. He did want to play with Ronaldo. He wanted to have one more opportunity, and you only got to take your hat off to him and just give him so much praise. And even Ollie, obviously Ollie has, people maybe are negative sometimes about some of the stuff he says in the press, but there's no doubt that he gives his players confidence, doesn't he? And he's given Jesse confidence to come back and do what he's done. And I'm just delighted for Jesse because I've always had a soft spot for him. But I would have sold him. I'll be honest with you, I would have sold him. But if he can contribute like this, and it allows other players to have a rest, and it allows us to rotate the squad, and we have more quality coming off the bench, I'm delighted.
But that's why time is really important. And what I mean by that is that it's time to let players either succeed or fail. So I'm happy with Jesse being at the club because it gives him the opportunity. I'm not massively interested in about contract lengths and all of those things. They're not things that kind of float my boat. I get why we talk about them. I get why they are important, why football fans want to kind of discuss it. We're now in a situation where we know that Jesse Lingard is in conversations with Manchester United about extending his deal. That's been happening with him and his father, and trying to find a way to keep him at the club. But like you just said there, he's a local lad. These things are not always important, but it's the same way that we look at, I don't know, like Catalan people when they look at Barcelona. These things do bring you, do change the conversation, is what I'm trying to say. So Jesse's from Warrington, just outside Manchester. He loves the club. He wants to stay at the club, but then there has to be some impact and value from that. So again, like I said at the start of the segment, Jesse is an England international. He's not a bad player. I think he's got a little bit of a bad rep from maybe how previous managers have played him. He was always an attacking player. Even going back over the years when he was a kid, he was an attacking midfielder, number 10, who could score goals and score goals for fun. And I always want to see Jesse Lingard be that type of player. I don't think he's a versatile midfielder. Like, he can do other stuff, but what's the point? You might as well use Van der Beek. You might as well use Fred and McTominay. Just
Can I throw a spanner in the works?
Go on.
A little bit. I would still get rid of Jesse Lingard at the end of the season. I would still move him on. I know he hasn't signed a new contract, so he's probably off. But why would you? Why would I get rid of Jesse Lingard? Because I've seen Jesse a lot for Manchester United, where he goes through purple patches, purple spells. He needs to play regularly at this stage of his career. I think he still needs to play regularly to be the player that he can be. We saw that at West Ham. He will be on the bench. I think that United can shift off the wages and bring someone in that would fit the squad better, in my opinion. And I look at the academy as well, and I know this is obviously early days, but there are academy players that could come in and take that place in the squad, someone like Hannibal, for example. So for me, I just look at it and I think, do I want to go and give Jesse Lingard, 150 grand? I know money shouldn't matter, but I just think that United can use those wages elsewhere in the squad. You look at our wage bill, it's bloated at the moment. We've still got David De Gea and Henderson both fighting for that spot. So yeah, I wouldn't lose any sleep if we lost Jesse. I love him, but I wanted to go and see him play more regularly. And yeah, I just wouldn't be bending over backwards to ask him to stay.
I wouldn't be losing any sleep either. I agree with you. But this is what I just, to kind of buck that point, what I just said is that this is why you need to give players time. So do I think that Jesse Lingard would be a much more effective bench option in the next 1 to 2 years than Hannibal? Now, I want to see Hannibal get minutes. Absolutely. I think he's going to be a great player, and I think we're going to find a way to get him into the team. But I don't think you then make yourself weaker to make yourself stronger. This is the whole point. You know, we look at it, we look at the wage bill. The wage bill is something for the financial guys to sort out, and that's up to the Glazers. That's something that, again, I think it's really difficult. Fans now start to think in fancy football terms or computer games that you balance those books, and that's something to think about. I don't think like that. I think Jesse Lingard is a really good option from the bench. If he went because he wanted more minutes, he wants to go to West Ham and play every week, I would, pat him on the back, Haider, and I would say, thank you for your service. Off you go, lad. No problem. Let's get on with the game. Let's get on with our squad and build what we need to build. But as it stands, if United give him a contract, he is useful. He is useful. He will get you goals. He gives you options. Like I just said, I don't see him as a versatile midfielder, but he gives you something else that maybe you don't have in the squad. So today you might have gone and put Wamata on the pitch. Yeah, you might have looked at a Wamata type character and said that's what you need, someone who's going to get the ball and around the box, maybe field Ronaldo. Then of course you become just very Ronaldo centric. You're not really trying to score goals from other positions. You're just trying to find players that get the ball to Ronaldo, and that is of course the fear. For Jesse Lingard on the edge of the box, that's not what Jesse Lingard's going to do. He's not going to look up and just say, right, where's Cristiano? He's going to go, I trust myself. I'm a goal scorer. I'm going to put it in the top corner. I think this year, Jesse Lingard, as a substitute, can get double-digit goals. 100%. I really believe that.
In all comps, yeah.
In all competitions, yeah, even in the Premier League. I look at him and he's the kind of player that is capable of going on runs, like you said, purple patches. But I think form is a visceral thing, and it's about function. And I want Jesse to have an impact on winning. Yeah, I don't really care what he does, to tell you the truth. If he scores one every 4 games or one every 10 games, I don't really care. As long as he impacts winning. Today, Jesse Lingard was the main reason why Man United won this game. The main reason. So if you don't have Jesse Lingard, and like say there you were like, I'm happy to get rid of him. Well, we could have sold him to West Ham. He would have been playing today, Haider, for West Ham, and we probably wouldn't have won the game. And he might have scored the goal that put us.
True, but I'm looking in a long-term phase. I understand today.
Yeah. I get that. I agree with you. I wouldn't lose sleep if he left, because that's the term you used. But at the same time, I would rather United paid him and kept him, because he has functionality. He will score you goals. And it doesn't mean that just because Jesse Lingard leaves the football club that then the kind of the perfect scenario is that Hannibal plays minutes. Because like we've seen with Donny van der Beek isn't playing. Why? Because of Donny van der Beek. He's not playing because like he's a brilliant player and he's sat there and he's just waiting for his chance. Well, he is waiting for his chance. But these are the reasons, hey, that's the way I look at it. It's kind of much more rounded. I want to keep Lingard. If they can agree a deal, I won't feel bad about that. And I also don't think selling him means that other players will suddenly step up to the plate. What you do is that you train them all, you keep them all, and then you play the best one. That's the best way to do it.